Welcome to the fifth and final part of the tutorial, designing a process. Now, we will create a travel request process for our travel request app. In the app design page, click on Processes tab. Click on Design Processes to get started on our travel request process. This will launch the process builder. The main panel in the middle is the graph canvas that contains the actual process diagram. Click on the edit icon beside the process name in the navigation bar here. This brings up the process properties dialog, where you can edit the process details. Let's rename the process to a more meaningful name, such as travel request process. Participants represent users or roles that perform a certain task. Click on the Edit button while hovering over the participant name to set its properties. Let's name this participant as the requester. Add more participants into the process by clicking on the green Add button under the currently selected participant. Then, name our next participant as the approver. Alright. Let's craft our process diagram. All we need is an approval process flow to approve and reject requests. The green node here represents the starting point of a process. Hover over it and choose the new node to create. Add activities, tools, and routes into the process diagram. Ensure that all process flow paths have a proper start and end. And once you're done, add a red node at the end here to indicate the end of the process. To handle routing for approval as an example, we use the diamond-shaped route node. Then, in the transition after the route, we can define conditions for the process flow path. Let's edit this transition. For this transition type, select Condition. Select the workflow variable status, and key in Approved. Status is the workflow variable we declared in process properties earlier. Set the other transitions type to Otherwise, to indicate that it is the default path to take when other flow conditions are not met. Great! Our process design is complete. Click on Deploy on the top right here, to deploy the process to the server. Coming back to the app design page, Joget will interpret the process diagram and load the process details. In the Map Participants to Users tab, you can map each participant to specific groups, users, organization chart, and so on. Let's quickly map our requester and approver participants here. In the Map Activities to Forms tab, all process activities are listed here. We can map forms to activities to represent a business action. Map the Submit Request activity to our previously created travel request form. We don't have a form to handle request approval yet. Let's click on Create New Form to quickly create a new request approval form. Fill in the new form details accordingly. We can make use of the existing table name. Remember to rename the section. Let's rename it to Travel Request Approval. In this new form, add a subform form element to display the submitted form, and radio button form element to capture the approval status. Configure this subform to select the original request form. Configure the radio button and add approved and rejected options. Remember to map the radio button values to the status workflow variable, so that the workflow variable can capture the selected value and flow to its configured process path. Preview, and save the form. Next, in the Map Tools to Plugins tab, you can map tools defined in the Process to Process tool plugins. For example, to send out an email, we can map this tool to an email tool. Excellent. Our process is ready. For your information, to quickly test out your process, click on the Run Process button along the top here if you want to. We will now incorporate the process into the user view. In the App Design page, click on an existing user view to launch the User View Builder. Create a new menu category. Drag a Run Process element into it. This menu element allows end users to start a process from the user view. Edit its properties, and select our newly created process. Now drag an inbox element into a menu category, to provide users with an inbox to manage their assigned workflow tasks. Drag in a list element too, so that we can show the list of travel request records. Remember to save the user view. Now, let's try to go through the travel request process in runtime. Excellent. This is the end of the 5-part tutorial on building your first app. Thanks for watching.